It's crucial to take seriously the process of choosing a domain name, because if you do it wrong, it can lead to many problems not just with your brand recognition, but also with the search rankings. So in this video I'm going to share my best tips and tricks that will help you come up with a catchy name, avoid a few pretty common mistakes, make sure your domain has never been used before, and even save some money. If you are serious about succeeding online, stick around to the end of this video not to miss anything essential, and consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to watch more valuable videos about digital marketing and website building. Without further ado, let's go ahead to the very first tip. Did you know that even if you buy a brand new domain name from a registrar, there are no guarantees that it hasn't been used by someone else before? Well, the truth is, if a previous owner for some reason stopped paying the registration fees for a domain, a registrar put it in an auction, and if no one buys it, the domain name expires and technically becomes new. But you should bear in mind that Google keeps data about a domain for years and doesn't really care about the current owner. Wait, why exactly you should be worried about it? The thing is, there are a lot of people who do so-called black hat SEO. This approach includes manipulating search engines by buying backlinks and other schemes that result in low-quality backlinks. So, if a previous owner engaged in black hat tactics, Google might have penalized the domain in search rankings, and you will never find out about it. So, it's kind of easy to imagine a situation when you paid a lot of money to build a website, spent time to fill it with content, did on-page and off-page SEO, been patiently waiting for a few months to see the first traffic from the search engines, but don't get anything just because someone did something wrong with your domain name in the past. I think you would agree that this is just a nightmare, but thankfully there is a way to check the domain history before buying it, and right now I'm going to show you how to easily do that. Let's conduct a little experiment. We will take a domain name that currently marked as available at GoDaddy and check whether it has been used before or not. The first online service we are going to use to check this domain history is whois.domaintools.com. I will leave links to all the websites mentioned in this video in the description below, so feel free to follow them. As you can see, although sportsmanapp.com is currently available for registration, it has an impressive history and was registered for the first time about 11 years ago. The number of registrars also suggests that this domain was bought and sold several times, and we can only guess what the previous owners did with it and why the last one decided not to renew it. The second service that I'd like to recommend for checking the domain history is archive.org/web. This website basically takes screenshots of all the websites on the internet from time to time, so that we can check how the site connected to our domain looked like in the past. As you can see, the first record about this domain is dated February 10, 2011, which once again confirms that it has a relatively rich history. Despite, as far as I can tell, this particular domain has never had a website connected to and was registered in the hope to resell it one day, I wouldn't recommend buying domains with history anyway, as this could lead to many problems in the future. The next tip I'll give you is relatively short, but might help you save a couple of dollars. As you know, to make your site appear on the internet, you're required to have a hosting and domain name. And people who are going to create a website for the first time usually do not see the difference in what to buy first. But the thing is, if you purchase a hosting or website builder annual plan, they usually provide you with a free custom domain name for 1 year. So in case you bought a domain name in advance, you might feel frustrated. Like you not only spent the additional money, but now you've got 2 domains and have no clue about what to do with the second one. Consider this little tip before starting building a website, and let's move ahead. The next tip sounds quite apparent, but despite that, I know many cases when people get into such kind of situations. I'm talking about the usage of trademarks in the domain name. Please don't do that. Of course, when launching business websites or online stores, people usually use their own trademarks in the domain name, and that's totally okay. But when it comes to personal blogs and especially review websites, it's a fairly common mistake to use someone else's trademarks or a brand name as a part of the domain. The point is, if you do that, it's just a matter of time when you will be asked to get rid of your website, and that's in a good scenario. You can even have severe legal implications in the bad one, which may cost you a lot of money. So one way or another you will lose your website, as well as all the efforts and resources invested in it. Alright, since it's clear now, let's move to the next tip, which is also closely related to domain naming. How easy it is to remember your website name has a significant impact on brand awareness and the number of direct visits. That's why you should avoid using hyphens, numbers and doubled letters inside your domain. It simply makes it much easier for people to share your domain name by word of mouth, and easier for you to share it with potential customers. Could you imagine a situation when you are trying to explain where exactly a person should place a hyphen or type a double letter in order to be able to go over to your website? Sounds awful, doesn't it? That's why I also do recommend keeping your domain name concise. Even though most of the fancy short domain names have been taken for a long time, it doesn't mean that you will not be able to come up with something of your own. Try to aim for less than about 10 characters, and if nothing comes to your mind, it's always a good idea to just make it branded. To summarize all of the above, you should make sure your domain name is easy to understand, spell and memorize, if you don't want to lose any traffic. Alright, my next tip, consider using keywords in your domain name. By doing that, you tell the search engines what your website is about. It's not only an outstanding possibility to improve your ranking by a specific keyword, but also indicates the narration of your business or niche. However, you have to be careful here. Don't be spammy and make sure you do not transform a domain into a set of keywords, because it can cause Google to consider that as an attempt at manipulation, leading to your website's penalty. Also, I can't help but mention that it might be pretty hard to find a good domain with your target keywords that haven't already been taken. You will need to be creative and combine your keywords with other words to make your domain stand out. But don't get disappointed in case you didn't come up with a great idea or are not going to use any keywords at all. The presence of a keyword in a domain name is not a decisive factor in search ranking. It's nothing more than an additional value. The last but not least tip I'd like to give you, do not use any other domain extensions except for .com. I know there are a lot of people who will tell you that it's totally acceptable, but I can't entirely agree with that, and here is why. When you mention a website's name, for example during a conversation or something, people usually think about a .com. So if your domain has a different TLD, which stands for a top-level domain, it may cause confusion and lead to loss of direct visits, without even mentioning the fact that people simply tend to trust .com URLs more than URLs with any other TLD. So, if you don't want visitors to consider your website as unsafe or untrustworthy, I do recommend you to stick with the .com extension. That's it for today, guys. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the like button, because it helps my channel to grow. Also, consider subscribing if you're interested in digital marketing and website building and would like to get more valuable tips on these topics. Have a nice day and see you next time. Bye!